Okay guys, welcome again. My name is Kelvin, and in today's session we'll be getting started with HTML, what HTML is and how HTML can help us as developers. HTML as we know is hypertext markup language. HTML hypertext markup language. So you go to the internet and you visit web pages. Almost all the web pages on the internet today were built with this language called HTML, hypertext markup language. And that's what we'll be learning today, how we'll be able to build our own websites with HTML. Now, so this is a simple HTML boilerplate structure that we have here. We have this tag here. So you can see doc type HTML. This line of code here indicates a tag. So this is a tag, this is also a tag, this is also a tag. All the lines we see here are tags. That's the term we refer in writing HTML codes. So this doc type here tells the browser that, hey browser, this document or this page is actually written in HTML. So that's the purpose of this doc type HTML tag we see here. It tells the browser that, hey, this web page is built in HTML. Also, this HTML tag, obviously since it's an HTML web page, we need to indicate it that yes, this is an HTML tag. And in HTML, every tag needs to have an opening and a closing tag. And for the HTML tag we see here, it has been opened here as HTML and also closed here as HTML. And we can notice the difference. To open a tag, we just put it in this less than and greater than signs. And to close it, you indicate it with this / here, as we can see over here. So we've opened the HTML tag and we've closed it here as well. In writing HTML, you have to make sure that every content you want to be on your web page should be within the HTML tag, and that's very important. Otherwise, anything outside of it would be disregarded. So every HTML web page should, or all the tags in the HTML document should be within the HTML tags. Now we have the head tag, which contains the title tag, and I'll indicate this in as time goes on. So don't worry about it at the moment. And we have the body, which will contain all the structures of the HTML tag. We have the H1, which is an heading tag, a P tag, and all that. I'll be explaining further as we move along. So these are the tags we have, the HTML tags as I've talked about, the doc type as I've talked about. Okay, so these are the text editors available for all developers that we can use. But for this course, we'll be making use of the Visual Studio Code. That's what we'll be using. Okay, so now let's get our hands dirty with writing some codes. So so to get started, you can create a new folder. Create a new folder as I have done here. As you can see, I've created a new folder called PukkaTech Coding Club. That's what we'll be using today. And open your Visual Studio Code if you have downloaded it. And this is how the Visual Studio Code looks. So yes, this is it, the VS Code. This is how it's supposed to look. So if you don't have the Visual Studio Code, we have a video which goes or talks about how we can install this VS Code on our system. If you haven't watched it, I strongly advise you watch it and continue with this course as well. So we need to add this folder to the workspace over here. So we can just click open folder here. We get an open tag. Let me move to where my folder is, PukkaTech Coding Club. Let me add this folder. Yes, I trust it. So as you can see, this is an empty folder. So let's start by adding a file to it. You can right click on the folder and click new file to add a new file to it. You can name the file. So let's name this file index.html. And this is very important. You need to indicate the extension for the for the IDE to be able to know which language you are actually trying to write your code in. So in this case, we are writing in HTML, so the extension must be .html file. So it should be index.html and nothing else. You should make sure you bring the extension. Okay, so I hope you guys remember the boilerplate I was talking about, which is the doc type, the HTML tags, and all the other tags. And this IDE makes it available, or makes it easy for us to simply write these codes. So to do that, just click Shift+1. which will give us this exclamation mark here, and just click enter. Automatically to bring out all the boilerplates we were talking about. So this is the doc type we talked about earlier, and the HTML tags, which is open here and closed here as well. So this is the head tag as well. Don't worry too much about this meta tags, it's not very important at the moment. And this is the title tag. Now let's open this HTML file in our browser. How can we do that? So right click on the workspace we have here and click on open with live server. So this is an extension I installed on this IDE. If you haven't, I advise you go to the previous lessons. It was recommended that we install some extensions, so I strongly advise that you install that extension as well. It's called live server. It will help you to quickly code and for the browser to reload quickly as well. So I'm going to go ahead and open with live server here to open my browser. Good. So as we can see, this is a very blank document. This is a blank document. It has nothing on it. If for some reason you are not able to open with a live server, go to the folder you created, open it, and double click on the index file you've created. Yes, it will do the same thing, but just that anytime you write a new code, you have to click reload. That's the difference. So at the end of this lesson, we will be building a simple website, and this is how it looks like. We'll be building a simple website like this. It's very simple, and this was just made for you to understand the simple or basic concepts of HTML. So you will be actually building something like this. And you remember we talked about the title tag, right? So when we come here to our IDE, our workspace here, now you see in the title tag, on the one we are working on, we can see documents, right? We can see documents. And when we go back to our browser, this is it, documents. So this portion we see here represents the title tag. That's the title tag. This portion we see here represents the title tag. Any changes we make to the title tag will reflect here. And note that all these tags are opened and are closed at a point. The HTML tag is open here and it is closed here. The head tag is open and closed here. And this is our title tag. It is opened and it's closed here as well. So let's change the doc type to PukkaTech Coding Club. And let's see if the change has applied. Good. So as you can see, PukkaTech Coding Club, and that's the same thing we are working on here. PukkaTech Coding Club. We successfully changed the title to PukkaTech Coding Club. Good. So now, what else do we want to do? As we can see here, there's a heading here. Welcome to PukkaTech Coding Club. How can we do that? Let's go back to our code. In the body, now since we are coming to make changes in the body or the main body of the web page, that's when we use the body tag. And when I say the body, this is what I mean. This portion, this white portion we see here, it's the body of the HTML document. So anything in the body will appear on this white screen we see over here. Okay, let's go back to our code. Good. So to get the heading, we have the H1, the H tags, which the H representing tags. Now the H tags have sub tags, which is H1 up to H6, and the greater the number, the smaller the text size. So let me describe this. So H1, let me just type in hello world here. Now as you can see, this is it. It's an heading tag. It's a bit bigger as well. So let's go back to what we are trying to achieve. Welcome to PukkaTech Coding Club. This is what we want to achieve. So let's go back and type that. Welcome to PukkaTech Coding Club. Coding Club. Good. Let's see how it's looking. Okay. Welcome. I've made an error, but you don't worry about it. Welcome to PukkaTech Coding Club. Yes. Good. But as you can see, this website, or this web page has been centered. It has been centered. How can we also do that? we use a language called CSS, but I won't go deep into CSS as in along the line we'll talk more about CSS. So don't worry too much about this code as well, this CSS code as well. And I've written a div. What do I mean by a div? A div here represents a block of code, right? A div represents a block of code. So every web page, you can think of every web page as blocks of codes. Everything is in blocks. Everything is in blocks. And this web page we have here is also in a block. This web page we have here is also in a block. And to represent a block in HTML, we use the div tags. We use the div tags. Okay, so let's go back to our codes. So instead of this being on its own in the body tag, let's put it in the div tag to represent a division in our HTML body. Okay, so we have it here. It wouldn't change anything at all. It would just be the same as it was. Yeah, nothing will be changed. Okay, so as I said, we want to center this. We want it to be in the center. So we can do something called inline styling with CSS. So don't worry yourself too much about what this is. We'll explain it further in subsequent courses. So to do that, you just type style and let's align text, or text align center. Text align center, to center the text for us. Good. The text is centered as we want it to be. So everything I put, every code I put within this div I have here, every code I put within it will be centered. Every text I put within it will be centered. All right. So for now, the only code we have in this div is welcome to PukkaTech Coding Club. We can do more, can't we? We can. So in here we have another heading, and it looks like a subheading to me, where we learn to become developers. How can we do that? Let's go ahead and add this in our code. We can use the h2 tag. If you remember, I said the greater the number, the lesser the size, or the size of the text. So since h1 is the least, then it means the text will be a lot larger. Now h2 is smaller than h1, so obvious h2 is bigger than h1, which means the text I'll put in this tags will be smaller. That's how it works in HTML. So h1 is the biggest, contains the biggest text, h2 smaller, h3 smaller, h4 up to h6. So where we learn to code, okay, let's see how that looks. Where we learn to code. Good, everything is working well as we want it. So let's also view the finish, where we learn to become developer, basically the same thing. All right, so the next line we have here is don't be left out, but you can notice the don't has been cancelled. How can we do that? It's very simple. Don't be left out. So let's reduce it to h3 and let's see what happens. Don't be left out. Let's see what we have here. Don't be left out. But the don't hasn't been cancelled. The don't we see here hasn't been strike true. What can we do to strike it true? So what we can do in HTML provides a tag for us to do this, which is called the strike tag. And to do that, we only use S. So in the tag, we have only S, which represents strike. So let's just type the don't within the strike tags. And let's see what happens. Good. So as you can see, the don't has been strike true. Exactly what we want. Okay. So here we've successfully done the heading, the subheadings as well. And there is this paragraph of text that we have here. It's actually in a dummy text I have here. It's in Latin, but I just want to explain what we can do with the tags of HTML, so there's no need to know exactly what this text means. It's just some dummy text HTML provides for us. So let's open a p tag over here and put in, to do that we just type in lorem, which is lorem ipsum. It's a very long text, dummy text for explanation's sake. So this p tag represents paragraph. If you want to make a paragraph of text, this p text, this p tag helps us to do it, to indicate a paragraph of text. So let's see how that looks. This is the finished one. Let's see what we have here. This looks really ugly, but we don't want this. We don't want this. What can we do about it? We want it to be in line with the rest of the text. What can we do about it? Let's go back to our code. Someone might think, okay, if that's the case, why don't I just style it here and change the structuredness of this text? Let's see if this works. Nope. Let's come here. Still the same. Nothing has changed. Well, HTML helps us achieve this. We can use the break tag to be able to break the lines on each other. Okay, so let's use the BR tag. The BR tag, it's a self-closing tag, so we don't need to open it and close it at the same time. It closes by itself. BR tag. Okay, good. Let's see if this worked. All right, it worked, as we can see here, but the text has shifted to the left side. Let's move it to the center. You can do that by styling it. Once again, don't worry too much about how to style it. We'll talk more in subsequent courses. So text align center. Let's see what we have here now. Good. So now the text has been centered as we want it to be. Okay, so in the finished web page you have here, there's an image here. How can we add the image? Very simple. HTML makes it very simple for us to do that. Let's come back. Let's continue with our code. We can do this by using the image tag in HTML. The image tag. So to do this, you just type img, close the tag. Image. This tag is a self-closing tag. So we don't have to open and close it. So in HTML, there are tags which needs to be opened and closed, like the head tag, the body tag, and div tags. But there are other tags which are self-closing, like the break tag, the BR tag we have here, and the image tag as well. And in the image, we need to put in some attributes for the HTML to know where we are getting our image from. We need to make this available. And to do this, we need to add the attributes. And to do this, we need to type the source of the image. So we can represent this by the src here, and we type in the source here. So in the folder we've created, we don't have any image in it, but I've gone ahead to download an image which we can use on mine. Gone ahead to download an image here, so let me just add it to the folder we have here. Okay, so yeah, this is the image. Let me just add it here. Good. So you can also download any image at all and use, doesn't really matter, just get it done. Okay, so as you can see in the workspace, this is our index file and this is the image file as well. So we can make reference to the source of the image here. So to type this, you have to make sure that the image is within the same folder as the HTML file. Otherwise, you will need to specify whether it's in a different folder or not. But for this case, the image is within the same folder as the HTML file. So let me just add the source, which is the name of the image plus its extension. So pukka.jpg, as we can see here. So, and that's it. Let's see what we have here. Good. So we've added the image. We've successfully added the image. Okay, but you can notice something. Anytime we add a new tag, it moves to the left. Then we manually have to change it and style it to move to the center. But if you can remember, within this div we have here, we've already styled it to make sure that anything we have inside that div, anything we have within this div will be aligned in the center. So to make our work a lot easier, why don't we add everything here, remove everything here, and put it within this div, and let's see what happens. Boom, now everything is in the center as we want it to be. And since that is done, we can go ahead and remove this styling we have within this text, and it would still work. Nothing has changed. Good. Okay, so the image we have here, looks a lot smaller than we want it to be. It looks a lot smaller. So let's change that. Let's make it a bit bigger. Let's make it, yes, it looks a lot smaller. So let's make it a bit bigger. So we can do this by styling it. Once again, don't worry too much about it. Let's style, and the width, let's make it 200 pixels, and the height should be also 200 pixels. Let's see how it looks now. Good, now we have the image. So as we can see, we are really getting close to looking like what we have here. We are really getting close. Now what's left here is we have this short passage over here saying click here to visit our YouTube channel. Click here to visit our YouTube channel. And there, as you can see, the here looks like it has been underlined, and there's a different color because all the other text are black, but this alone looks like purple color. And when you click on it, it directs you to PukkaTech Coding Club's YouTube channel. This was done by HTML. This was done by HTML. Just click on it and it directed us to a new web page. How can we do this? We can easily do this with HTML. So let's go back to our code here. So let's put it in a p tag. Let's continue. Click here to visit our YouTube channel. Let's see what we have. Click here to visit our YouTube channel. But this doesn't look like what it is here. It doesn't look like a link to me. When you click on it, it doesn't take you anywhere. Okay, let's change that. And to do this, we can make use of the anchor tag. What do I mean by anchor tag? An anchor tag in HTML is provided for us to put links to text or make link routing very easy. So to do this, let's add an anchor tag within this text. So this is an anchor tag. It's a tag, a simple anchor tag. And let's put the text we want to be, which is here. So click here to visit our YouTube channel. Fine, we've done it. Let's see if this works. It still doesn't work. Why? Because we haven't added a source to the anchor tag. So we need to tell HTML that, hey, if you click on this text, direct me to a different web page, right? We need to provide a link for our document to direct to a different web page. So let me grab the link here and just paste it over there. Just copy and paste it over in our code. So once again, we'll use the src representing source. Let's see what we have here. Oh no. So in Anchor, instead of using source, we don't use source. We use href, meaning hyperreference. In Anchor tags, we use href, which means hyperreference. I almost made the mistake over there. So we just make use of the href, which means hyperreference. We make reference to different web pages. So just paste the link within this hyperreference, and that should work. Good. So now, as you can see, click here to visit our YouTube channel. Let's click on it and let's see where it takes us. Good. So we have now been directed to a new web page, a new website as we wanted it to do. Okay, so let's go back here, and now slowly, quickly, we are now getting a lot closer to the end of this tutorial. We've successfully built a web page which has a heading, a subheading, as well some paragraphs and an image. Okay, but there's this last thing we need to change as well. As you can see within this text, the YouTube over here looks a bit bold. As you can see, it is more bold than the other text. We can change this as well. Let's go back to our code and do this. So where we have the YouTube, let's remove the YouTube and add in another tag, which is called the strong tag. The strong tag. So you type strong in here. It's an open and close tag. So strong, we've opened it here and we've closed it here as well. Let's type in the YouTube over here. So click here, click anchor, put the link here to visit our YouTube channel. Let's see if it's bold. Yes. So as we can see here, the YouTube has been bolded as we wanted it to be. Okay, very good enough. We've done everything as we want it to be. So we've successfully learned what H1 tags are, heading tags are, what P tags are, what image tags are, and how we can work with them, what anchor tags are, how we can route links in our web pages as well. We've talked about the strong tag as well, how we can break paragraphs so that the lines of text wouldn't be in a straight line and all messy. We've successfully learned everything, and we've also known how we can edit our title as well, our title tags as well. Good. And this is not the end of HTML. There's a lot we have to cover within HTML, so stay tuned and be expecting more videos from us. And don't forget to subscribe, like, and share this video as well so that more people can gain access to it. Thank you very much for listening to us today, and catch you in the next video.